Hello YouTube, this is Brian Tubbs coming at you with another video. Today it's going to be a quick video. In the last video I was working on the upper piece and the donut for this metal sculpture we call reaching. So now I'm working on the lower portion, the core 10 portion, the upper portion that comes out of here and goes up. And the donut that sits there is stainless steel. And of course this is a core 10. And so I've welded up everything, and I've grinded these two stainless steel pieces because they just take so long. And so what I decided to do is just kind of give you guys a little tutorial on how I get my edges really smooth. And that's kind of what we're known in the industry for, is having smooth edges on our metal sculptures. So in this first portion, I'll just be grinding out the top of this weld, because I TIG welded it on this upper portion here, all the way from bottom to top on this side. But on this side, I just welded it from this portion to the bottom, because after we get it all welded up, I have to open this flap up in order to weld the donut between this piece and the top piece. So I just wanted to just shoot this quick video, just let you guys see how I do it, how I lay my grinder on here, you know, to get it smooth, and the things I'm thinking about as I'm doing it. I'll do some on this side, and I'll kind of move the piece around on the other side so you guys can see it maybe a little bit better. But I don't want to, you know, just grind the whole thing, because my back will be to you and all that kind of stuff. So let me get started. I'm using, the first thing I'll be using is my, I call it a flat disc, F-L-A-T. It's a 36 grit flat disc. It's made by CGW. So it's 36 grit. So I take and knock the high portion of the weld off with this, and then after that I take a either 40 grit or 60 grit flap disc, F-L-A-P, and this grit is a 60 grit. But on my stainless pieces that I grind it down, I use the 40, because there's, like, stainless steel is just so hard to grind. So what I'm going to do first is take this flat disc, this 36 grit, and just go over and just kind of gently knock these welds down. I am not trying to touch the metal, the parent metal. I'm just trying to stay right on top of this, on top of the weld. So I'll let you guys see how I do that. And just as a little side note, when you guys see me doing welding, oftentimes when I'm tack welding, I don't wear a helmet sometimes. But whenever I'm grinding, I'll use a full face shield, because I don't want that, you know, that metal flying and get into my eyes and be in the hospital and all that kind of mess. So I always wear a full face shield whenever I'm grinding. I don't care what I'm grinding. It could be a little small piece. I'm still gonna put a full face shield on. All right, so let me get going. And what I do, guys, is when I'm grinding this edge here, I want my grinder going this way, because I want the rotation that'll be going clockwise. So it's throwing the metal off this way. And I'm not, if I go this way, I'm pulling the metal off this way. If I turn to go this way, I'm going this way with the metal. And I have a better chance of digging into the metal if I'm going this way. So I'll just take this grinder, put it right on the edge of that, on the top of the metal, and I'll just gently just slide along it. Just a slow slide, and I'm watching this parent metal in here to make sure I'm not digging in to it with this grinding disc. So I'll just kind of talk my way through it as I go. So just watch what I'm doing. And the only thing I want to see is the top of that weld come off. I'm not trying to get this weld down to the parent metal. I'm going to use the other grinding bit that's not as harsh or coarse as this one is, because I do not want to cut into that metal. All right, so my goal is just to knock the top of that weld off. And so it was that quick. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this upper portion here, so when I turn the piece around, you might be able to see it a little bit better as far as what I'm doing. But back here, so I'm done with this for now. So I'm gonna do now is take this 60 grit, and my grinder, so when I was out here, just knocking the top of the weld off, my grinder, as opposed to being completely flat, it was slightly coming up this way. So say if this is the piece here, my grinder wasn't laying completely flat, it was slightly tipped up or back this way, because I didn't want to go into the metal this way, so my grinder was slightly up this way. So what I was trying to do is keep it almost flat, but not have it cocked back so much where I'm taking this whole edge off. And I didn't have it leaning forward because I didn't want to dig into the parent metal, so it was just kind of riding on right on the top of that weld bead. Now with this 60 grit, I'm going to lay this more toward the parent metal, because I want to take this weld from here and blend it in with the top of the parent metal. I don't want to have my welder or my grinder leaning back this way. I want to have it leaning more forward into the parent metal, but not so far forward that it digs in. And I don't want to have it leaning too far this way, because I'll be digging in going that way. So it's just a balance. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I was leaning slightly forward, just slightly, because after I take the crown of that weld bead off, I don't want to take this welder and knock more of it off on this back edge. I want to keep it where it's more level and it's not cocking back like this, but I want it more level. So then when I take this and put this on, I'm just riding on the top of that weld bead that I just knocked down with that one, and I'm just blending it right into the parent metal. I'm not trying to take more of this weld bead off on the back side. It's just more on the front side. I'm just kind of just blending it in with we're calling this a parent metal. I'm just blending it in with the parent metal. And what you want to see is how it's kind of shiny around here. That's what you want to see, because you know now that you're blended in with the other metal. Whereas if you didn't see it shiny like that, you would have high spots. So when you finish your piece and you think it's all done, you'll look at it later and you'll see these humps in different locations. So I've just learned that when I see the shiny portion, I know I'm blended in, because everything is level through here. Well, let me see if I can turn this piece around and put this on that side so you guys might be able to see it a little bit better, just from start to finish. Okay, guys. So I just want you to get a closer view of what I'm doing here. So on the top of this weld here, this weld bead with the flat 36 grit, I just want to knock the very top of that off. I'm not trying to take it down much. I just want to knock that crown off. So that's all I'm doing with the flat disc. And then when I come back with the 60 grit or 40 grit, I'll lay that more toward this parent metal, but not where it digs in. But I just want to blend the top of this weld in with that parent metal. So my grinder is not leaning back this way, nor is leaning too far forward. It's just on enough of an angle where I'm taking the top of this weld bead and blending it in with this parent metal. I don't want to take too much of the weld off because it'll be weak. So I'm trying to keep as much metal there as possible, but blend it in. Whereas when people look at it, they won't even see the weld bead at all. So that's what I'm doing, guys. I'm taking this flat disc. I'm taking the flat disc and laying it on there, kind of in an angle coming back this way toward, the camera this way, but slightly, but not so much where I'm rolling this edge too much. So and it's not laying flat, it's slightly more back, just a little bit. And I'm just taking that crown off. So let me see if I can do it so you guys can see it. And if you can see in here, you can see little lines in there. You see the shiny, and then you see little lines going through there. I haven't gotten to the depth that I want to go yet. But if you notice over here, it's smooth. You don't see those little lines going through here. It's more smooth. That's where I want to be. I'm still going to have a little lip here. If I run my hand back this way, you're still going to feel a lip there from that weld being the weld being higher than the parent metal. That's what you want to feel. You don't want this flat disc taking that weld down to this. I just want to get it to the point where I can run my hand across it, and I still feel a little bit of a lip there. And so what I'll do now is just finish going on here with the flat disc, getting this to where I want it. Because right now, it's about, I don't know, 3/32 high in here now with that bead there. This is probably a 32nd above the parent metal here. And that's about where I want to be, somewhere in there. All right, let me go ahead and finish this part. All right, so I'm where I want to be now. I still have a little lip right there. When I come like this, I can feel a little lip. That's what I want. I want a little closer up here, but that's fine. That's not a big deal. So now what I'm gonna do is take the 60 grit flap disc, and I'm just gonna blend that in. So my grinder is gonna be leaning slightly more forward this way, but not to the point where it'll grind in, dig into this. So there's a happy medium between being too far back, flat, and forward. So somewhere in between there. So let me get this going. And And you can notice the difference now. If your weld, let me do one more spot. If your grinding mark looks like this, where you see shiny and you see parent metal, but it doesn't look like this, where you see all shiny going in about, what's that, about I don't know, quarter to a half inch from that edge. This is good. That's not good. That's not where you quite want to be. Because when you get your piece all done, whether it's stainless steel, core tin, whatever it is, you will notice that because there's going to be a high spot there. It looks good from here, from an untrained eye, but you want it to shine on that edge. Like I said, maybe a quarter to a half inch from that edge going in to that parent metal, because now you know it's smooth. Then you just take your hand, just run it across there, and it's smooth. You don't feel any high spots, any humps. So if it looks like this is what you want. You don't want to consider yourself finished with it looking like this, unless that was your intention. If you're making the piece and you want it to look like that, that's fine. But if you want it to be smooth, you want it to be like this. Now, in some of our pieces, where I had it, welded here, TIG welded, you see the full bead, I'll leave that full bead on the piece. I won't grind it at all. And, I mean, it looks good, when it's designed to be like that. But if you're trying to take your weld off and get it to blend in like this is what you want, to shine like that. I'm gonna go ahead and knock the rest of this off. Then there's another step. All right, now it's shiny all the way up, about a quarter, to maybe, 3/8 to a half inch, just depends on where you are on the piece. But that is what you want it to look like. And when I'm grinding, I put a new wheel, a new flap disc on here. Because if I don't have a new flap disc, I'm gonna have to dig in trying to get that bead to go away. But if you put a new flap disc on here, I really just have the grinders laying on top of the piece, and I'm just gently just gliding across. Sometimes I have to put a little bit more weight to it as the grinding disc is wearing out. I put a little bit more weight to it, but I don't want to put so much weight into it where I have to dig into that piece. So it's really just laying on there. I'm letting it do the work. Now the other portion to this, okay, now it's smooth here, but you have high spots on this outer edge out here because the weld just kind of ran over. As you're TIG welding or whatever you're doing, you're going to have a little bit of weld on the outside. So then you just take your flap disc and just run it out here. And you see it went from being, just the dull metal color to shiny down here. It doesn't have to be a half inch or whatever. You just want to knock that little edge off. That's what you want to do, is knock that little edge off. And you can run your finger along there. because on the back portion, it's rough as you run your finger on it. So before I grinded this down, it was kind of rough because you can feel that weld. But then you just take, like right in here, it's still rough because I haven't gotten that far with the grinder. But to this point, it's smooth. And then after you get to that point, you just take your grinder and just knock the little edge off. And when you do that, you have a nice edge. Now mine will probably look a little bit different than yours. Yours will look a little bit different than mine because everyone's touch and feel is a little bit different. But that right there is good enough. And you just keep practicing on your edges, getting them as sharp as you want, or if you want them more rounded, more rounded through here. If you want it sharp through there, that's up to you. You kind of, work your style. This is how I do it. Let me go ahead and finish this little front portion. All right, guys. That's how you take your welds off your edges. That's how I grind them. Sometimes I might do a few more steps, but you get the idea. So that's not a mystery. That's a tip that I don't give to anybody. They come to the shows and they're constantly asking me, how do we get our edges like that? I don't tell them much of anything, but I've shared the ancient secret with you guys, and just practice. Just get your flat disc and your flap disc, and just work your edges. If you need to review the video, you can do that. Now with stainless steel, it's going to be a little bit more time-consuming, but it's still the same technique. There's no difference. You keep your coarsest grinding bit off of the stainless because you don't want to dig in. So you just knock the top of that weld off, and then you just take your 40 or 60 and just do what I just did. But stainless, it took me on average about maybe 8 to 10 minutes to do a whole side of this with the Core 10 or mild steel. This is Core 10. But if you use mild steel, you're using the same, ER70S or ER80S D2. That's much softer than using like stainless steel 308 or 309, wire. So you just, it'll take you a lot longer with the stainless steel. But all right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. And like I said, this is an ancient secret that I haven't told many people, but I'm telling you guys. And I will see you on the next one. I will probably be either working on the piece stacks or Eternal Flame, one or the other. But guys, I hope to see you on the next one. And as usual, peace out. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, it's cold out here. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees. And it's damp and it's cold. All right, guys, see you on the next one.